Welcome to Café of Delights, conversations that enlighten and inspire with me, your host, Gale West. We are at the precipice of one of the most exciting evolutions in human history, from science to spirituality, culture, arts, cutting-edge psychotherapies, new economies, and more. We will explore how to create a world where all can thrive. In a series of riveting interviews, you'll have the opportunity to hear from those that are actively working at the edges of local, regional, and global transformation. Join me, your host and author of the book, Money Come Dance With Me, Gale West, to be inspired, delighted, and filled with hope for a new reality. Café of Delights starts now. I am here and I have Joan Reid, who I've loved dearly, as my guest. And Joan is an artist, teacher, and energy worker. She taught art and computers in public school and college for over 45 years. Joan loves to help people become aware of their inner abilities, to trust their intuition, and to learn about energy work, which we will talk about today. She believes that everyone has superpowers, so to speak. Our public schools do not help us to remember them. As a clinical hypnotherapist, Reiki master teacher, Hawaiian energetics practitioner, and dowser, she maintains an office treating clients in these modalities. Joan hosts and facilitates meditation gatherings at her studio in the Shirt Factory in Glens Falls, New York. She also does aura drawings with a reading and teaches classes in meditation, Hawaiian energetics, Reiki, dowsing, listening and trusting the message you get, and art. And we love art. I'm so happy to have you, Joan. Welcome to the Café of Delights.
Thank you, Gail.
So we ask everyone the same question, which is, what is delighting you, since this is a Café of Delights? What is delighting your soul? And what brings you hope at this time when a lot of people don't feel a lot of hope?
One of the things that I love is to help people learn about themselves and trust themselves and feel good about themselves, whether it's with art or with any of the modalities. I mean, Reiki, giving a treatment, helping people with hypnotherapy, whatever people need to help them get more equilibrium and balance in their lives, and then they feel good, then I feel good. That's what I love. So I hope that people are searching and learning and doing the best they can to find ways to get themselves in a healthier, more balanced way.
And what is your origin story? I love that I'm also an artist, so I love that you're doing art and you're integrating that into your work now as a healer. How did you get to where you are? Because it's from public schools to Hawaiian energetics.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so when I was 4, 5 years old, 6 years old, I used to know what people were feeling and thinking and what they were about to say. And because I was a child, I had a childlike way of thinking about it. I called it clunking. I thought that because we had this hard skull, that when my head went inside someone else's head, there would be a clunk sound. So, wow. So this little kid used to do this clunking with her friends, and I pretty soon found that people were afraid of me and thought I was weird. So I kind of shut it off for a while. Then I realized that my intuition, I really knew things and felt things, especially if I was outside in nature. But I kind of let that part of me, especially in the school systems, kind of be asleep for a while. And I think a lot of us do that. So when I got older and I had the opportunity to build a house from the ground up, well, I didn't do the foundation. We had someone do that. But I was teaching 900 kids a week, teaching art in public school, had 2 children, put my husband, the man who was my husband, he's now up there. But I was so stressed out that my body froze. It really froze. I couldn't move without pain. My father, being a medical doctor, sent me to all kinds of people. No one could figure out what it was. So I decided to take a medical leave from teaching after 10 years in public school and started taking every class I could in alternative healing. And I wrote a list of, I don't know if you want me to list them all, but I took everything from meditation, visualizing, Reiki, hypnotherapy, all the modalities that I could, and started getting myself better. I became an aerobics instructor so I would have movement. I studied herbalism and nutrition so that I would eat better. I became a clinical hypnotherapist so that I could make myself go to sleep and sleep more peacefully through the night and wake up fully alert, totally refreshed, and better than I felt the day before. So I had all these things that I was doing for myself and decided to go back into the public school because I realized that all people learn in different ways. And I wanted to do the most that I could to help children that weren't given the kind of education that they needed to learn in the best way. Mm-hmm. So I had all these I started feeling what the kids needed. I started feeling if they were more audio or visual, or if they had to touch things, if they had an intuition. So I started teaching individually, which was a lot more work for me, but I loved it. Mm-hmm. And my students just thrived. I mean, I loved my job. I wasn't even ready to retire when I did, but turns out it was a good thing for me to do. Mm-hmm. So I continued taking classes, and I was the person that I learned meditation from, and a group of us that took meditation classes with Loretta Grabowski, a local woman who was amazing in this area. She's not alive on this plane anymore either. But we all started studying shamanism and Reiki and hypnotherapy and all these other things, reflexology, cranial sacral. And we were studying Huna, which is a positive philosophy of healing and thinking. So we met a man from Hawaii who was teaching Hawaiian energetics. We invited him to this side of the country because I'm in New York State. So we invited him to come here and teach us classes. So we started studying with him, and he seemed to connect the Hawaiian way of being in nature, respecting Mother Earth, being aware of all the elements, fire, water, air, and earth, and mana, which is universal energy. And we started learning from him how to give treatments. As we gave treatments to people, we also got a treatment. And I'm a Reiki master teacher also, so I appreciate Reiki. I do it regularly all the time. But Hawaiian energetics can get even deeper and more specific. So I don't know how much more you want me to keep going with this, but I created a center or a place where we can work together. I have a group of people that have studied with me now, and we have an ohana that covers, I mean, it's not just this country. Our ohana, or our family of Hawaiian energetic practitioners, is maybe 50, 60 people, and I'm not even sure there may be more. Mm-hmm. So we get together when we can. In fact, we're getting together in October, and we do something called clinics. We invite people that have issues or things that they want better. They might have a disease, which is being not at ease with something, or their physical body is doing something that they don't want. And we have a clinic having people come through and give treatments. So it's kind of a win-win situation. We're learning more about how to help people, and they're getting a free treatment. How much more do you want me to keep talking about?
Well, it's fascinating. I'd like to go a little bit more. You kind of have the gamut, excuse me, of alternative. I also am a Reiki master teacher, and that is working with energy, and the idea that every indigenous culture has a way to work with nature and energy and healing. I know that Hawaiians are specific in that they believe that we have three selves, right?
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I think that is absolutely fascinating.
Well, the three selves are the physical, the mental, and the emotional. Or the physical, which they call the uhane. We have the etheric, wait a minute, there's three different ways of thinking of this: the physical, the etheric, and the astral. And then we have the Uhane, the Unihipili, and the Aumakua. So every culture that I've studied, and I have gone, or like you have, to many different countries, and I study the spiritual beliefs. Bali, Peru, Hawaii, Mexico, the Celtic areas, all of them have a belief of the three bodies. I mean, even the scientists, the conscious mind, the subconscious, the superconscious, or whatever you want to label them, there's always these three parts of us. So the Hawaiians believe that, and dowsers too, I can tie this in, with the physical body, if something happens, it can also then affect the etheric body. That can also affect the astral body. So you want to make sure that there's an equilibrium with all the three bodies for that particular person.
Mm-hmm. And I know that the Hawaiians knew, interestingly enough, about numerology, astrology, herbalism, and the qualities of the elements. What do you see is unique for you, having studied all these other modalities, with the Hawaiian way of healing?
I can draw on a number of different backgrounds and see it in the Hawaiian ways, including past lives or regression into this life. Because when you're working with the Hawaiian energy and you have certain chants or prayers and intentions a biggie, that sets the vibration of the space you're working in. And you are, in a sense, out of time and space with the rest of the reality around you, because you are so hyper focused on what you're doing and where you are, that you and the person you're working on, or you with just yourself, if you're working on yourself, you're in, like I said, out of time and space. So you can go to the source. You can go to wherever it is that a situation happened and help heal back then and bring it forward. Mm-hmm. Now, there are also things with, like you mentioned, numerology. There's energies that they use for volumes and the qualities, like 3, 5, and 7 are amazing numbers, because 3 is like a beginning, 5 is like bringing it into the physical, and 7 is bringing it into the spiritual, or bringing into everything and all that is with you as a being. So let's say if you were to come to me and say that you were having liver problems, I would probably say, okay, we'll meet on Thursday at 3:00. Those things will help you with liver, because that's when the liver is the most receptive to being healed. So after studying all these different things, it kind of, I don't even know what to call what I do anymore, but Hawaiian energetics has been a real biggie for me. And that's where I start. So.
Well, that's fascinating that you work with those specific. So kind of bringing it back to the elements we talked about before this recording, like the idea of water. And I know that, we're all made of water, and that is a really big thing with the Hawaiian culture and the Hawaiian shamans. What for them is the significance of water, and how do we kind of bring that into ourselves for healing and for understanding the world around us?
Okay. Well, it's water. As you know, dowsers connect with water. We are water. Water for them is more than just something to drink and in their physical bodies, and, helping with the fluids of everything. In Hawaii, they honor all the different elements, but when it comes to water, they realize that there's water in the clouds, there's water that comes down the mountain in a stream, over a waterfall that comes into the taro fields that then eventually goes out to the ocean. They honor every single part of that, and they make sure that those waterways are clear, that rocks don't fall in the way of the flow, that a tree, if it falls down, they go clear it. They help take care of the land, with the understanding that the water is replenishing. It goes out into the ocean where they can get fish, where there's things that will help nourish them. It's a cycle. They can read the clouds and know what's going to be happening. The last time I was in Hawaii, I was talking to a Hawaiian who watched the clouds, and his village knew what was going to happen around the world politically, which fascinates me. I don't know enough at this point to understand exactly how they do that. But the Hawaiians really pay attention and respect and honor all the elements.
That's wild.
I know.
And you know, there is a lot of research now that water holds intelligence.
Yes.
It holds our intentions. And so on my water pitcher, I've written the words blessings and gratitude.
And on my water, I have love and peace on the bottom of it for the vibration.
It's what we're talking about is recognizing that all around us is energy, that we are energy, and when we come back, I'd like to go a little bit more into the elements and also intention and how intention affects who we are and what we do in the world. My last guest was Lynn Twish. She wrote a book called Living a Committed Life, and the idea of when we take a stand or we take a commitment for what we believe and what we want, that's our guide. But intentions are even more not that that's not powerful, but that there has to be an intentionality in that, right?
Yes. Well, intention has a lot to do with the healing arts of Hawaii.
Yeah.
And we can get into that because it has to do with the intention of the plants as well as the herbs. And I know we have 30 seconds. So
we
can get into it after.
Cool. So we're going to take a little break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the power of intention and how you can create intentions that are really powerful for you. I have Joan Reid, my guest, Hawaiian energetics practitioner, and many, many other modalities. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Imagine if you were truly flourishing, how would your financial expansion impact the world? Author of Money Come Dance With Me, Gale West is an internationally known speaker, creative catalyst, and business intuitive at Success with Soul. Work with Gale to create a new relationship with money as your friend. Link the soul of your business to the business of your soul with programs like Sacred Money Mastery, Akashic Records of the Soul, and more. To receive a healing money meditation, go to successwithsoul.com today.
Café of Delight, conversations that enlighten and inspire with me, your host, Gale West. Tune into transformationtalkradio.com every second and fourth Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific. We are at the precipice of one of the most exciting evolutions in human history. On Café of Delights, you will hear from those that are actively working at the edges of local, regional, and global transformation. For more information on hope for a new reality, visit Gale West at successwithsoul.com. Hello, you are back on the Café of Delights I'm your host, Gale West, and I have my guest, Joan Reid, and we've been talking about Hawaiian energetics, the Hawaiian way of looking at the world, and we're going to go a little bit more into the power of intention and how, so Joan, we talked in the break about how intention is really, really important with the Hawaiian shamans, the indigenous people, and their kind of feeling of being in the intention of all of creation, basically. Let's go a little bit more into that and how people can actually create powerful intentions. But first, like, what is their sense of intentionality and its connection to all of creation?
Well, intention is how we do things, how we manifest. And when they want something to happen, they make sure that their energy, all the three bodies, are lined up with their thoughts, with their, with everything that they want to happen, as if it is happening, as if it's going to happen, and it is happening. So they keep very positive. They don't say things like, oh, don't fall down. They might say, I'll stay safe. Everything is more of a positive way. They try to keep things in their energy being positive of where they want to go. Because, and we know that scientists have proven that your intention can change how water is. Dr. Emoto did all those water studies about how someone around a water drop that's angry or sad, the water drop does different things than when people are praying or they're in a happy mood. You know that our energy with dowsers, our energies go in and out, and we can actually measure. When we're happy, our energy goes out farther. When we're sad, we kind of pull in, kind of like a turtle. We want to be in. Well, the Hawaiians understand this without having to explain it. They know that their energy is touching everything that they're going by. So they want to stay in a positive way so that they then are treated in a positive way. When you are truly in a place of equilibrium and aloha has to do with being in humility, being connected in community, being truthful and honest. And it's not just when people say aloha, they're not just saying hello and goodbye and I love you. There's a lot more in the real Hawaiian way of what aloha really means. And when you have that intention that you're fully in that place, then other people can treat you that way because they feel it. Mm-hmm. And when you start doing treatments with people, they've learned to change their energy. One of the things I've learned from my kahu, my kumu, my teacher, is how to change my energy to be the same kind of vibration as water, or the same kind of vibration as fire, or the same kind of vibration as air or earth. And in that way, we can help people and that need some kind of treatment. We can help ourselves. Mm-hmm. Many years ago, I tore my ACL, in my right knee. I was skiing. My knee tore totally. I went to 3 different doctors to try to get it fixed. They said, oh, all of it's too gone. I mean, it was a long time ago, so they didn't have the repair techniques that they do now. I watched on a video how they cleaned up my knee and there was no ACL. Over the years, my intention and putting my hand on my knee, sitting there, first doing Reiki, then with hypnotherapy and visualized the healthy knee so that as I got older, my knee would be strong. Then I was doing Hawaiian energetics because I know different things to do to help the ligaments, to help the support around the knee, to help whatever the knee needed to be healthy as I got older. Then I ended up going to a knee specialist because I had a little Baker cyst, which goes away by itself. But he said, who told you didn't have an ACL? I regrew my ACL in my knee. Just by having the intention and having that positive energy and knowing that my knee was going to be strong and take me through my life. So intention, I know, helped do that.
Wow. Wow. Because that's not one of those things that people can typically do. But
why not?
Because
we believe we can't.
Yeah, right. So part of what you're saying is that so a lot of people think, well, thinking positive, that's just Pollyanna, but recognizing that that our thoughts actually have an energy, that our thoughts have power, and that when you radiate something that is positive or joyful or loving, that it actually affects the field around us.
Yes.
And so I'm curious. So I've done a lot of work with elementals and like, talk a little bit about the energy of like air, for example. I love air, the air quality, the qualities of air. Like, how do you connect to the qualities of air? We talked about water.
Well, my Hawaiian name has air and water in it. And it's like the Native Americans in the stories where people, when, you go, people watch you, the elders will watch you and see what qualities you have. And then they will give you a name. Well, in Hawaii, it took a while because I was shy in the beginning and I didn't let myself be known in all ways. They could see me physically. Mm-hmm. They could hear my words, but I wasn't as sure of myself back then 20 years ago. So over the years, I started getting my Hawaiian name. And now my name is Kahu Joan Hevahini Makamaka Makani Kai Reid. It has to do with my vision. It has to do with air, and it has to do with water. The air for me has to do with expansion and having space and being able to connect with everything and have joy. Air is joyful. Water, the water part of it, has to do with the flow and the memory and being at ease. And you can connect with things with water. Water connects. Another thing, though, having to do with the intention that I want to talk about, having to do with any of the elements, is your intention can help water be different. You can have slow moving water. You can have a babbling brook with moving water. You can have a waterfall. That's another kind of water energy. You can have the ocean waves. That's another kind of water energy. Each element has a lot of different qualities in them. Mm-hmm. The Hawaiians understand this. So when they change their energy, you might need something a little more gentle than somebody else does. You might also, when you're working with air, because you love air, you have to be careful that you're more like a gentle breeze than a hurricane, or a tornado. There's different qualities in each one of these elements.
Right.
Am I answering?
I'm connecting into it. It's like, that's, yeah, interesting. Well, so it's fascinating that it's your wind and water, because we talked about this in
yes.
In Chinese, the word for feng shui means wind and water, and that's the art of placement. So mm-hmm. when you work with these elements, everything has a certain flow to it in your home, in your land, and so recognizing that wind and water is really, really powerful.
Yes.
And I'm curious about fire and earth. Since we're talking about the elements,
what about them?
the qualities of, you talked about the qualities of air.
Mm-hmm.
The qualities of water. What are the qualities that you see? Like fire can be destructive, but it can be warming.
It can be destructive, and it also can rebuild. I mean, volcanoes rebuild the land, right?
I never thought of that. Yeah, and they create islands.
Right, and the volcano in Hawaii, by the way, is one volcano that it moves, and then it comes up again in different islands. Fire can be like really fast moving. It can be a gentle, like a nice fire in a fireplace where it kind of is a roaring fire, but it's just a gentleness to it, and the flames can be relaxing. Then it can also be like the embers, where after the flames go down, the coals are like this low, it's intense, but it's not a flaming fire. It's still fire quality. Mm-hmm. So when you use fire for different things, you might have someone who, this is an example of how I would use fire. If someone comes to me and they say, I haven't had any motivation lately, I really need to be motivated, I would use the quality of fire to get them going, the spark of energy. Mm-hmm. Fire, and then you asked about earth. Earth, what do you think about with earth? Support, nurturing, mothering, ancient, all these different qualities are in earth. So there are times somebody might come to me with a foot that hurts. I would use earth energy to support them. They might have a fear of going forward in life. They might, because of something that's happened in their life, they might have hurt their foot or their leg or something and not even realize that it has to do with a fear inside of them. So I would use the qualities in earth to help them have support to move forward in their life. Now, I might not even do it totally in their physical. I might do it in their etheric or their astral to help them with the support they need in all three bodies. So that's part of treatments. Did I answer enough for the earth and the fire?
Yeah. So if we feel into that, what is it that a person can do around how to call these energies in, how to call these intentions in?
Would you repeat that? What would they do to call them in? Well,
how could they use them?
Well, I use them. I will tell you that I've gone to classes to learn how to use them. To tell somebody how to use them in 2 seconds is kind of more difficult. The teacher part of me would love to be able to just have an instant, oh, this is how you do it.
Well, not just, you're not going to train them in 2 seconds, but just like, oh, if I need some passion, just kind of feel into passion. If I need to have some clarity, just feel into the clarity. If I need to have some flow, allow myself to have some flow.
Yes.
If I need to have some grounding, just kind of feeling into some grounding.
Yes.
Just recognizing that these are powerful energies that we can honor, we can connect with, we can build, we can allow into our lives.
Yes, and that all has to do with intention. And I guess I was just being a little cautious because I'd love to have everybody learn how to pay attention to their intention and be able to start doing that, especially, little things like when you want to go to sleep at night. If your mind is just going over and over again and you're not letting yourself relax, you can start feeling whichever quality it is that helps you relax. Calming water, floating, or, having a cool breeze, whatever it is that people visualize will help them help themselves. So yes, there's a lot of different things people can do on their own. I do teach classes now. I don't know if this is a good time to just plug that in. I have a class in October coming up. But it's more about learning how to build a relationship with those qualities so that when you need it, you can just like that, know how to be it. Know how to have your energy and all the levels be there for somebody else to help them. Like when you see somebody that you love, you instantly, a lot of people, well, maybe more before COVID, but now they'll, you don't even think about it. You smile, you like maybe go hug them. It's like an instant thing. The Hawaiians and the real kahunas, and you can't be a kahuna unless you are born in Hawaii or Hawaiian blood. The real kahunas are more than shamans, but they are shamans. Now, when all of those kahunas, shamans, they're medicine people, they work with the energies, and they know how to instantly be, because their intention has been used enough and they practice enough so that they can be instantly what they need to be. They change their whole physical being and energetic being. So
I've read some things about the Hawaiian kahunas, and they are really, really powerful. They can transform themselves, they can time travel, they can do many, many things. And this is something that many indigenous cultures, shamans can do.
Yes.
We've lost a lot of that ability because we're so connected to the material world, unfortunately, and don't really recognize the power that we have as human beings. We're very, very powerful.
Yes, we are.
So we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, I'd like to, we've all heard about Ho'oponopono and like how to use it, and I know it comes from the Hawaiian tradition. I'd like to go a little bit more into that because I think that's something that is a really powerful thing that so many of us can use.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to be back in a few moments, and I'm Gale West, your host of the Café of Delights, and I have Joan Reid, and we'll be back talking about forgiveness and Ho'oponopono and how you can connect to Joan.
Imagine if you were truly flourishing, how would your financial expansion impact the world? Author of Money Come Dance With Me, Gale West is an internationally known speaker, creative catalyst, and business intuitive at Success with Soul. Work with Gale to create a new relationship with money as your friend. Link the soul of your business to the business of your soul with programs like Sacred Money Mastery, Akashic Records of the Soul, and more. To receive a healing money meditation, go to successwithsoul.com today.
Café of Delight, conversations that enlighten and inspire with me, your host, Gale West. Tune into transformationtalkradio.com every second and fourth Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific. We are at the precipice of one of the most exciting evolutions in human history. On Café of Delights, you will hear from those that are actively working at the edges of local, regional, and global transformation. For more information on hope for a new reality, visit Gale West at successwithsoul.com. Hi, we're back. I'm Gale West on Café of Delights, and I have with me my guest, Joan Reid, who we've been talking about intentions, the power of working with elements, and the qualities of the elements. And I'd like to go a little bit more into the Ho'oponopono. So some people have heard of it, and some people haven't, but it's a Hawaiian prayer, right? For forgiveness. And just what does Ho'oponopono mean? What's literally?
Well, the real Ho'oponopono is not just a prayer. It's a way of bringing light into a situation, and pono, which has to do with harmony and unity, and everything is right. Mm-hmm. When you have two words together, pono, that means that it's even more powerful. So you're bringing light into this wonderful place of having everything be in harmony and full of love. So the true Hawaiians do Ho'oponopono regularly. They don't let any little thing, resentments, angers, they do the best they can to let things go or resolve conflicts as they go along, so it does not build on itself and make these deep resentments or angers. Now, a man named Dr. Liu Wen, I think it is, he has this new, the 4 words that you use, or the 4 phrases that you would use. Please forgive me, I forgive you, I love you, thank you. I mean, you can say it in a number of different order, but it all kind of is the same thing. And that's kind of a quickie, an instant forgiveness. The thing is, the true Ho'oponopono, they feel it in their cells. You really have to work at letting certain things go. Because you know what it's like if someone says, please forgive me, and then you go, okay. And you think, okay, I'm going to forgive them. I'm going to forgive them. And it's really hard to do spur of the moment. You might have to work things through. So a true Ho'oponopono can be learned, but it's a process. The real Ho'oponopono. I have a colleague, Rick Pono, will teach classes in Ho'oponopono. I've taken classes in Hawaii with Ho'oponopono. And it is an amazing process, because a lot of the Hawaiians do what's called talk story to educate. One of the talk stories for children is they talk about how everyone is born with a bowl of light. Every time something comes along and it hurts you, or you get angry at something, or you fall and skin your knee, or whatever it is, you get a stone in your bowl of light. And over time, if you don't take the stones out, the bowl of light becomes less light. And all of a sudden, the bowl could be full and you don't have any light left. Mm. So what you want to do is take those stones out, take them out, and do the healing as you go along, so all of your light isn't gone. Mm-hmm. So that's what real Ho'oponopono gets rid of, the stones as you go along.
So there's probably different phrases. The one that I've heard is, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you." Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. That's the more modern way of doing what you can to let things go.
You know, it's interesting because I pray for my ancestors, and I was saying that on behalf of all concerned. And I had a session with an intuitive, and she said, "Oh, your ancestors came to me and they thanked you for the healing that you've been giving me." And I'm like, hello. I didn't say anything to her, but the recognizing that, and I had heard that that it does mean to make right.
Yes.
Literally to make right. And that is something that they do say on behalf of the ancestors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And because your intention is so pure, and you're truly doing what you can to let go of things, or to help your ancestors let go and heal back then. Mm-hmm. Because of your intention, it's working. And I will say that I believe that those 4 phrases that you said can work, but the person has to really be in a place of understanding exactly what they're doing. You know what I mean? Instead of just, you know, how some people will say, "Oh yeah, I forgive you." It's more of a cellular, full energy that's going along with you, that then, because you can be out of time and space, because you already know how to do that. And everybody can do it. It's just we get in our own way and don't believe it. Your belief and your intention helps that really happen. So yes, that can be with the 4 phrases, because you've trained yourself and let that be part of who you are. Is this making sense?
Yeah. And you know, and I do it also. I think you got to work up to it.
Yes. That's what I mean. Yes.
Just feeling just, and sometimes just saying it is helpful to work up to it. And just, so just, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you." And I say that to myself when I have when I think about something I did in the past that probably hurt somebody. I just immediately say, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you." Or if there's a way in which I know I'm hurting myself, like I've got a part that's kind of a critical voice, I say, you know, on behalf of that critical voice. So we do hurt ourselves.
We do. And what you're talking about is your way of getting yourself more in balance. It's beautiful. It's just like the dowsers say, "Can I, may I, should I?" But what they're doing is they're actually getting themselves to a place where they're very centered. They're not thinking about, "Oh, I've got to go feed the cat," or "I have a dentist appointment tomorrow." They're getting themselves ready. When you do the "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you," you've done it enough so that you know where you want to be. You know what your purpose is, and you're getting your energy to a place where it's going to be real and true.
Right. And it's fascinating because I used to think of forgiveness. I talk about this in my book, that it was like kale, which I hate. It's something you're supposed to do, but you don't really want to. But you know, recognizing you do it for yourself, because when you hold on to these energies, and whether somebody hurt you or you hurt them, that it's so you can say it on behalf of somebody else.
Yes.
And I'm thinking about the idea, there's so much about collective trauma,
Yes.
energetic trauma, and trauma of the ancestors and how that affects us.
Mhm.
That how we can work with that is actually forgiveness on behalf of others, forgiveness on behalf of ourselves, forgiveness on behalf of the collective. So
Yes.
it feels like we can act as proxies for others.
We can. And our intention, well, you know, as a dowser and as an energy worker, our energies connect to everybody and everything. So when our intention helps us do that, then we can help other people, you know, especially if they're willing. It's almost like we can offer, like when someone comes to my office here and asks for a treatment, I will offer them all kinds of things energetically. It's up to them to accept it. So we can be out there with our energy, with intention of healing and helping. And when you're out there, there is no time.
Right.
Okay. So time is a man-made thing. So we can go to wherever the source is. If that's our understanding, that's part of our intention. So we can go with healing or helping in whatever way that person or situation is willing to let us help. Prayers are amazing. We offer people, you know, people can feel when somebody's praying for them.
Mm-hmm.
They've done studies, and this is scientific. I like to bring in the science a little bit. When people they brought in a bunch of monks and people that were more spiritual ministers, people, and they put them in a place where there was high crime. And they had them sit and pray and send good intention out. And the whole area around them had less crime. And I don't remember the time frame there, but it really showed that because their energy was more pure and loving, and the other people kind of caught it energetically, so that they didn't have the frustration or the fears or the angers that cause them or motivate them to do these things that aren't as beneficial for people.
Well, people respond to the energies around them.
Yes.
We don't realize that we do, but we do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a place that feels where all the people feel stressed and they're angry, you're going to respond because
Yes.
you know we're all connected basically.
Yes.
And so what you're talking about is really recognize coming back to this idea of intention,
Mm-hmm.
really being in an intentional place
Yes.
on behalf of the planet. So many people are terrified on behalf of the planet, but really set an intention of what am I going to do on behalf of the planet? What am I going to do? How am I going to create an energy that is about solutions?
Yes. Yes. And knowing that we do have the ability to be able to help. We may not see it the way we think we want to see it, but we are helping. So we have to trust in the process. And that's all part of what I like to do in my classes, is help people trust themselves and their abilities so that they can be in a better place to then help the rest of the planet.
Right, right. That's really important. So your website is cruising down the bottom of the screen, but for people who are on audio, how do people connect with you? What are the classes that are coming up?
My website, www.joanreid.com or www.joanreidhealingarts.com. I do put my classes that are coming up on there. There is a way to contact me on that website through my email, which is spiritualreid@gmail.com. If
And
people
Reid
want,
REID, right?
REID is Reid. Yes. Yes. And if people contact me, then I will get back to them and I can let them know more information if they want to know more information about any of the things that I do offer. I do Zoom classes. I do remote healings. So when you go on my website, you can see a number of the different things that I do.
Mm-hmm. So I'd like to come back to this idea. I'm really passionate about collective trauma and how we create a life where all can thrive. Feeling into the wisdom that you have gleaned from all the things that you've done in the many, many years. Oh, before we do that, we've used the word dowsing a lot, and some people may not know what dowsing is. What is your definition of dowsing?
Learning to trust your intuition, learning to trust the messages you get. We all get messages all day long and we don't always pay attention. A lot of people will go, oh, I knew I should have done this, or, oh, if I'd only listened to myself, or, we get these messages. And some people think deja vu is like, you already know that something's going to happen. I mean, we are amazing creatures with all of these abilities we have. So dowsing is a way to use a tool to get a yes and no answer, whether you're using something like this, which is a pendulum, or L rods, to find water. But what it is our energy systems are out there all the time. And when we learn to ask a question in the correct way to get a response, we can get a yes and no response. So we'll ask a question in a way that our tools will show us, because we get in our own way with our minds. Sometimes we think, oh, I don't know if I can do this, but we actually, the more we practice, we can do almost anything like that. We can find things. We can, find water. We can find missing objects in our house, missing keys. We've done a number of things with dowsing, as you know, because I've known you through the dowsing association for many years.
Yeah. Well, we have probably a minute left. Any last words for our audience?
I encourage people to trust messages you get, to keep learning and searching, and know that you are amazing, amazing creatures with amazing energy. Beings more than creatures, really, because we're beings. We're on so many levels, 3 levels at least, actually more than that. But you know what I mean. You're amazing. Please trust yourself and feel good about yourself.
And know that as we do that, we honor ourselves, we honor the earth, we honor all creation.
Yes.
We're all connected.
Yes, we are. We are one.
Yeah. And set powerful intentions.
Yeah.
Not negative intentions, powerful, positive intentions.
Yes.
For the planet and for ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Joan. It's been such a pleasure to be with you. And again, your website is?
www.joanreidhealingarts.com.
And this is Gale West, and you are on the Café of Delights. And we're so happy to have you. And we meet the 2nd and 4th Thursday of the month at 10 a.m. Pacific, and that is 1 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in to Café of Delights, conversations that enlighten and inspire with me, your host, Gale West. Listen or watch live every 2nd and 4th Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com for a series of riveting interviews from those who are actively working at the edges of local, regional, and global transformation. From science to spirituality, culture, arts, and new economies, and more, we will explore how to create a world where all can thrive. For more information on hope for a new reality, visit me, Gale West, at successwithsoul.com.